and ableist individuals who are trying to cancel me. So here is a timeline of what actually happened. And of course, yes, I reported this to the police. So I'm of course not a lawyer, so this is all simply to the best of my knowledge and understanding.
Well, you need a solicitor in the UK and Scotland, not a lawyer, but never mind.
But I cannot guarantee total accuracy, so I'm trying my best.
I cannot imagine. I cannot guarantee total accuracy. Well, most bullshitters can't. So, I mean, you're probably on the money there, to be honest. That's a very safe thing to say.
Obviously, but law stuff is hard. In 2022, the development team at Bloxco formed together to cancel me and push me out of the organisation. So a group of Bloxco developers conspired together in order to push me out because...
I just imagine going to court, standing there with all your chest and saying, hey, I'm not, one of them. I've been set up because people want to close down my Roblox group. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the look on the judge's face? Can you imagine the look on anybody's face in that courtroom? They're absolutely insane.
They did not like the fact that a trans woman with autism was running a successful Roblox group. These groups were hateful and nasty, but relatively low impact. They were like the Stop Amelia, Stop Modelly, or Exposing Modelly, whatever they were called.
Oh, subtle armpit reveal. Christ, wasn't ready for that.
Compared to what is to come, and these ran for a couple of years. So you can also see my statement regarding Bloxco at the time. That just goes into more.
Do you know what word salad is, chat? Do you know what word salad is? And that's a good comment there in the live chat. Successfully run by youngsters, yeah. It's another form of exploitation. She gets minors to run all these sort of servers and do all the work sort of stuff. But yeah, do you know what word salad is? So I feel like her online presence is just complete word salad. She's writing statements everywhere, and statements and videos, and somebody wouldn't be digging their own grave if they weren't absolutely shiting themselves. They feel a necessity to try and convince you of their innocence, but it's almost like over the top. It's almost very over the top.
Detail about the kind of the fallout and what happened. If you want to read that, link's there. In 2024, this is when things started to blow up. So Charlie took...
I just want to say, YouTube, the information that is posted currently on the screen is from a public website and once again has been shared by this person on YouTube as well.
Control of the hate groups. He recruited more people, and then they started acting much more unlawfully in order to harm me. So the above image was taken from his public campaign website. So you can see my statement regarding Charlie and details of all of his behavior here. This is just more of a summary, so I'm just trying to keep moving through it. But yeah, he was very obsessed with me, very creepy, very inappropriate, and yeah, I blocked him and stuff and everything. But he used to work for my group ages ago, and he just became very obsessive and freaky and wouldn't leave me alone. Anyway, when Charlie took over the hate campaigns, he started recruiting people that would not act within the law.
I will say though, wrong-uns do tend to attract other wrong-uns. Now, I don't know anything about this other person, so I'm not going to comment, but you know, you're running a Roblox server game, whatever the hell it is, and recruiting children, and you're creating a toxic, weird environment where you're talking about sexual harassment and all sorts of stuff like that. It's just weird. It's weird across the board. It's not going to create positive interactions with people, is it?
Received sexually threatening and abusive material both digitally and to my house, including AI images, drawings, and toilet roll stained with bodily fluid. Most of the people involved chose to send this abuse to try to push me out of online communities due to me being trans and autistic. By the way,
I just don't get... Right, okay, I really don't get it. There is lots of trans and autistic people in the world, right? There is lots of trans and autistic people in the world with a public presence. They're not getting sent bodily fluids because they're trans and autistic. These sort of things, you've got to be really hated by people. Somebody's got to really make some effort to do this sort of stuff. Now, I'm not saying it's the right way to act, because it isn't, but people don't just do that because, because of that. It just doesn't work out. With these sort of videos, it's the gaps in the stories that they're telling and the way they're explaining it. The statements are said as though they're absolute truth. Saying something like, "Oh, it's because I'm autistic and trans." What are you talking about? Show some evidence that it's because of that. Is it because of your behaviour? You don't want to talk about the specifics, do you?
As well, also family and friends have also received the same stuff, and they've also had to do affidavits to that effect. It got sent to them as well because they're involved with me. I don't understand why. These people are weird as hell. Anyway, as you can see from this.
Now, this is interesting, because she was sharing emails from the police, I think, which, once again, how stupid is that? Imagine you're her defence solicitor and you're like, you've released a 44-minute video and you showed emails relating to the investigation in your defence. You'd be absolutely out of your mind, wouldn't you, chat?
Image. I made numerous reports to the police, and I met with officers on a regular basis to provide this evidence. I did everything I could to do my own research. I, gathered IP addresses. I gathered phone numbers. I tried my best.
How the hell can you gather IP addresses legally? How can you do that? One second. How can you gather IP addresses legally? Like, the police are not going to listen to stuff like that. Oh, I collected an IP address. How did you do it? Oh, I put out like a false link that then got people's IP address. Isn't that against the law? Like, this is ridiculous.
Track down the people that were doing it. Sending less content to the laboratory as they were urgently asking for them to examine fingerprints and DNA. Unfortunately, none of this led to anything. So that's very unfortunate. I think they did find the phone number of the unknown caller, but not who sent the bodily fluids to my house, and a very sexually threatening letter. So these were probably the people that also created the AI images, or at least it would have been, people involved with them. It wasn't me. So when I met with officers,
can't afford legal fee. I'm reading your comment there. It posted a really long video earlier about the Sainsbury's Ready Meal. Can't afford Just Eats every day when they've got legal fees. Your legal fees are free. It's criminal court. You don't have to pay. If you're paying for a solicitor, it's because you've chosen a specific solicitor. Now, this is ridiculous.
Outside our police station, I was specifically told, make sure you keep everything you are sent so that we can use it as evidence. I had shown them some of the nasty digital messages I was sent. However, our biggest concern was rightfully...
There's absolutely no way the police would have indicated that you should keep indecent images on your phone. Like, there's absolutely no way. There's just absolutely no way. That's not... No.
They're heavily targeted and sexualized threats. So that is where the investigation was focused. And the images sent digitally were AI-generated cartoons, so did not involve any real people or victims, and therefore were not highly prioritized. They were like Simpsons-esque.
Now, this, once again, I'll remind everyone that the images were described as a child's face put on sexualized images, including masturbation, if you know what I'm saying, and they were deemed as category B. So when this one is saying, they were like Simpsons cartoons, they were like just pseudo images. No, they weren't. They were deemed category B, and they were images of children put on that sort of content. It wasn't just little Simpsons videos that you're trying to play it down as, which is why, like, the bullshit is insane. It was said at court. It was said at court what the categories of these images are, and she's going to try and play it down. Good luck. Good luck.
Like cartoons, and I could see they were fake, so it didn't involve any real children or anything.
Doesn't matter.
Due to unlawful AI images being sent via CapCut, an app owned by TikTok, a report was made.
Now, this is interesting. So we didn't know what had happened, right? We didn't know what had happened, but what has happened is that what I find weird, right? So, CapCut, can you get messages sent to you on CapCut? I didn't think you could. Chat, please tell me. I have no idea. Can you get messages sent to you on CapCut? Because I thought CapCut you used to edit videos. So, for CapCut to have flagged these indecent images, you've got to have opened up your camera roll on CapCut. CapCut may be registered that they're on your device, or you've actually put them into CapCut to do something with them. And then CapCut has seen that it's an indecent image and then flagged you. So you saying that you just kept these images, you never looked at them and everything like that, for that particular app to be the app that flagged you for this, that means that you were using that app and looking at those images, or editing those images or doing something like that, or uploading them, or who knows.
To police. So they have online monitoring, and when it sees unlawful content in someone's possession, it reports to a department in Edinburgh in Scotland. So this is.
Or it could have been the fact that, when you download an app and it gives you permissions and it says, can you have the storage or something, access to your phone storage? And then obviously it's then had a look, but I didn't think it then scanned your storage. I just thought, no, no, that doesn't add up either, because it doesn't look through all your storage to see what sort of stuff you've got in it. It's just giving it permission for you to obviously send stuff from your storage to the app. To me, it sounds like you were using it. Now, this email is very small. 1 second. I love technology. Watch me use the old technology. So, chat, I'm going to catch up with you guys while I try and get a transcription of this email. Transcribe this email, please. So what does everyone make of this? A few people are wondering who this is. So this is this one here. This is Amelia Connolly, who was caught with indecent images on her mobile phone. She's an absolute creature. She's an absolute strange one. Rice says it would make sense if she's uploading images to try and edit them. 100%. And anybody else got any comments before we move on? We've had a look at the transcription there. Here we go. I'll let ChatGPT take it away.
Here is the transcription of the email shown in the image. Lando Information, Official, Limited. Summarize this email. Limited to Modely Group Office. Warning. This email was received from an address outside of the Democratic People's Republic of Blocksmart. Be very cautious of links and attachments and report it if it seems suspicious. Official. Good morning.
So she was using, sorry, this just cracked me up. So she was using her Roblox thing, a Blocksmart email to fucking talk to the police about a legal case. This is wild, actually wild.
Good morning. I have just returned to work today to find your emails, looking for updates. If you feel you are struggling without your mobile device due to your autism, please get in contact with the relevant services as discussed previously and utilize the contact numbers on the back of the Lucy Faithful leaflet provided to you at the time of our attendance. I appreciate you are looking to speed up and help with the inquiry. However, please leave the investigation to ourselves. If you have
So basically what she's saying here is that she's had her phone taken off her by the police. And then she said that she's struggling without a mobile phone because she has autism. And they're basically saying, will you leave us to do the fucking investigation? Will you leave us to do the investigation? Because she's doing the word salad. She's self-incriminating. She's trying to control the situation. She's terrified that she's going to get done for this, which, quite frankly, she should. Let's continue.
If anything further you are looking to report in relation to your below email, please contact Police Scotland through the relevant channels. for example contact 101, completing an online forum, or if urgent, contact 999. I am sure you can appreciate these types of inquiries cannot be rushed. However, I will be in contact with you at some point over the next week or so to make arrangements with you depending on the outcome of the triage of the devices. Thanks, DC. Redacted. Note: the very bottom of the image cuts off with blurred text that appears to read, Detective, and Online Child Sexual Abuse and Exploitation, OCSAA.
So should try to cut that bit out at the end of what that detective is working with and what department we're talking about. So that is very interesting, because I find when people put up emails like this and then they're talking and they're just popping up for a second, they will narrate a version of what's going on next, but it won't actually be what we've just seen. It'll be a different variation to that.
As you can see, is an email from the National Child Abuse Investigation Unit in Specialist Crimes Division. So this is all in Edinburgh, okay? And this is following the raid in December where they came with the warrant and did a full search of everything. So they spoke about various charity support available. I appreciate you looking to speed up and help with the inquiry. However, please leave the investigation to ourselves. If you have anything further you're looking to report, please contact Police Scotland through relevant channels. Okay, so this is where this went. Now, I thought they would also look into reports that I had made to show that, you know, I was going through this at the same time. However, this team here, this East Command in Edinburgh, doesn't communicate with the Alloa, the local officers
Bullshit.
in my area. They're like
Bullshit.
completely separate, almost like completely separate forces, even though they're all part of Police Scotland, but they don't share information with you.
So, right, okay, so what I do believe is, and it's the same in the UK, there are like certain agencies that look into child exploitation and things like that, and they work as a separate entity from any particular force, right? But you cannot tell me that they issued an arrest of you, a search of your property, a seizure of devices without speaking to your local police or checking on the police database about everything. Now, in the UK, you have something called the PNC, which is the Police National Computer. Any of them could access it and look and see how many reports have been made against yourself, how many reports you have made, what the outcomes of all of those reports have been. There's also another one in England, which I imagine there's some sort of equivalent in Scotland, if it's not the same, called the PND. Now, the PND is like a notebook about a particular person. It's informal notes. So, for example, police could have attended her and said, she's, once again claiming blah, 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 waste of time, da, 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 da. She has an online presence. She does this, why. It's like an informal notebook. You can't tell me, because police have to work with due diligence and they have to work, obviously, with sort of the knowledge. For example, she's in a wheelchair. So you're not going to like rock up to arrest somebody without knowing, first of all, like their physical health, their state, what their interactions have been with the police. Are they a violent offender? Are they XYZ? So there's absolutely no way that the police would have just rocked up without in some way checking all that information. And plus, if this secondary team or whatever were going to arrest you, they would have to use your local police station, I assume, to hold you in. They don't travel around with their portable jail cell or something. So, mods, can we answer questions about who I'm talking to so I don't have to keep repeating? Thank you, legends.
Each other. This came apparent in some of my court sessions.
Also, chat, some of you may have the ability to press clip and get some clips in this. Please do. And if I end up sharing them on Facebook or TikTok, let me know that you've shared these, so you were the one who clipped them.
Because they were all like, we have no clue what other teams are doing. We had no knowledge of any of this. And it's like, why aren't you talking to each other? You're one.
Or maybe they're not telling you the truth because they don't have to. They're not going to tell you the inside of the investigation, are they? They're not going to tell you the mechanics of their investigation when you're the suspect who's pled guilty.
Police force. Anyway, so later on, I believed I was driving to Falkirk to pick up my devices and be cleared. Instead, I was arrested, charged, and released under bail. So this was again at the end of 2024 in December. So as you can see, I got the email from the woman in this team, who was actually quite a nice person. I obviously didn't like her at the time because she was doing this to me, but she was just doing her job. However, she was nicer than some of the other officers I've met. So, you know, credit where it's due. So for Texas, I put, as you can imagine, this was a terrifying experience. I was completely overwhelmed, hence why the reply to the arrest was recorded as, I don't know, because I was just in a total sensory overload. So to give this team credit where it's due, they handled the mess quickly without keeping me in custody. I was cautioned, arrested, and released under bail, all in under an hour. I was not, however, put through any interview process or shown any of the evidence against me. So I was left sort of questioning.
Once again, you're not entitled to it. Like the entitlement of this person, they think they are the smartest person in every room. You are not entitled to full disclosure of the evidence against you when you're a suspect. That's bloody stupid.
What exactly was being used. It was odd. Throughout 2025, I spent the entire year on bail and there were no checks carried out. As some of you know, I've obviously been to European Parliament Strasbourg. You know, I travelled.
Nobody fucking cares. They've all kicked you out now. Like, it's like bragging about something that you no longer take part in and you're no longer a part of because you've been booted out because of your crimes against children.
Through France, Germany, etc. No issues. So that was all fine. Okay, so I believe that this case would be dealt with and would never make it to trial, given that there was no criminal intent. Unfortunately, there was my case is so unusual.
So she's saying that her solicitor would have guaranteed that she would have never had an immediate fallback and everything like that. What an absolute load of crap. What an absolutely load of crap.
My first solicitors didn't believe that I had a defence, as they believed that the act itself, so the actus reus in Latin, is enough to constitute a crime.
Yeah, it is. My first solicitor thought I was fucked, basically, and I'm definitely guilty. That's because you are. And I noticed that she said first solicitor, so she obviously didn't like the truth from that one. She obviously told them to get the fuck.
Even though I believe the lack of guilty mind. So
oh, you can believe as much as you want. You can believe as much as you want. You know what I mean? You can tell us all of that.
The mens rea should be taken into account, as that is how the Scottish legal system is supposed to work. You know, when I was doing my own research.
Her research is so biased and so flawed. It's like when you use the AI and you ask her questions, and the AI is built to fluff you up and talk you up. So it gives you all the like yes sir stuff, all the yes man speech, and you just like bought straight into that. Because she keeps talking about how this law is outdated, and I've proved several times over that this law that she's been charged under gets updated constantly. It was last updated last year.
I'm obviously not a lawyer. My legal aid solicitors did the best they could, carrying out reports and inquiries. However, I never got to meet them in person other than seeing them during the court proceedings because their office is not wheelchair accessible. So this meant that everything was carried out over quite rushed phone calls, and I could not see any of the evidence, hence why I was unaware of some of the things that were sent to me on apps such as Telegram. Oh, and the solicitors also kept changing. So every time.
But that is weird. There's another bit of spillage from Amelia, and what a lovely pause screen. They've just said I was unaware of some of the evidence, like things that were sent to me on Telegram. So you have said previously that these indecent images were sent on Telegram. You've then said in this video that the police told you to save and keep everything because for some reason that included, you know, CSAM or whatever. Then now you're saying that you didn't know what was there, what evidence was there, even though in the same video you've told us that CapCut detected the images and reported you to the police in the first place. It's not adding up, dipshit. It's not adding up. It's not adding up at all. If you if you didn't know what was there, how have you got like such a weird defence and you're saying, "Oh, they told me to keep it," and da 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 da. You're just talking shite. Either that or there was more on Telegram or something. I don't know.
Time, like I would go to court as like a different person each time. It was quite confusing. So Orla Broderick, I don't know who.
Right. So it's pulled up one-star review of a solicitor firm that she's used. How many reviews do you think a solicitor's company will have on a public review place, like Google reviews or something like that? How many, chat? Ballpark guess. What do you think? And she's pulled up one bad review and been like, well, you see, fucking Ola here 3 years ago thought they were shite. So it must be the solicitors that are shite. That's called looking for validation. That's called looking for validation. So you're looking for something. You're looking for something to support your victim complexy moment here where you're saying, well, it wasn't me, it was my shit solicitors. So you looked for something where you could be like, oh my God, they say the shit too. Do you know what I mean? 3 years ago, completely different. And also, you don't know like I said, one out of God only knows how many reviews.
She is, but she seems to be another customer of the same lawyers that I used, and that is her review.
Also, she's not telling us the name of the solicitors. The name of the solicitors is not mentioned in the review. This could be Ola's one-star review of Tesco's Savers toilet seats for all we know. It could be, God only knows, it could be anything. It could be anything.
So obviously that kind of made me a bit concerned. And when I was reading this, I thought to myself, maybe I should get a second opinion, right? Because that was who I was with. In 2026, a guilty plea was tendered, but it was not what I expected. So
what the fuck could you expect for a guilty plea? What were you expecting? Were you expecting to get a guilty plea and people were going to go, good work, you did it, you pleaded guilty, you know what it is, we're done with you, it's all right, get your cell out there, don't worry about it. Nobody's going to talk about it, we're not going to put any restrictions on you, it's absolutely fine, it's all right, well done. Fuck off. Jesus, what did you think was going to happen? What did you think a guilty plea was going to entail?
So I was convinced over the phone that it was easier to simply plead guilty and to avoid a trial, as I was assured that this is a low-level offence that's unlikely to attract...
A low-level offence, Category B images of children. Pseudo images of children is not a small offence. Like, this is insane. This is not a low-level offence.
Any media attention or impact my life. RIP. Obviously that didn't go as planned.
Oh my God, imagine saying R.I.P. like that. Imagine being a grown-ass whatever and saying that. RIP, RIP, RIP. Fuck off. Also, imagine turning up to court with that in your head. Imagine you're going there to plead guilty. You turn up with that. Do you know what I mean? You turn up with that. Fuck me.
It turned out that legal aid pays very little and means solicitors are financially incentivized to tender a guilty.
That's not true. So legal aid is covered by the government and they just bill the hours to the government. They're still paid in the same way. This is bullshit. This is not true. This is not true. Yes, they will be trying to do a turnover on a case, but you're at a plea hearing. And I'm assuming because you write statement after statement and release video after video that you really thought that you were going to sit down with your solicitor and word salad for hours about, well, it's this, that, and the other. And your solicitor will have wanted to sit there and say, this is the evidence against you. You said this when you were interviewed. This is the best outcome for you. And this is what. And because they were direct and told you what to do and what you should do and gave advice, then you've got a problem with them. You think it should have been more than that. It's not. At that point, all they need from you is to know your position. What are you going to do? Are you going to plead guilty? Are you going to plead not guilty? Are they going to have to then prepare for trial? That's all they care about. Pardon me, you are not their number one client or priority. You'd be a nightmare to have as a client because you would not, and we've already seen it with the emails you've shown to the police, you would not stop contacting them. I bet she emails them constantly, like, oh, I've just thought of this bit of evidence and blah, blah. She'll be a pain in the arse. I mean, don't you agree, Chad?
Plea, and he says similar to the link to a YouTube video shows the American system. It's similar,
The American system. She's gonna compare English law to American law now. This is amazing.
To public defenders. They're very rushed, and they can't always, in complex cases, it's hard to find the defense.
At that rate,
Oh, shut up. Oh, shut up. So she's inserted a video about public defenders in America, which is completely different to the UK. Do you know, like public defenders in the USA, they just turn up to a courtroom and wait to be handed out cases on the day for people, you know, who've been like their version of remanded, which is just sent to jail, and they need a legal, and they take turns and they collect a file and stuff like that, which is a bit of a broken system, which is what you're talking about. It doesn't happen like that in the UK or Scotland. This is completely irrelevant. This is absolutely completely irrelevant.
it's impossible to spend enough time on each case. One public defender in Minnesota only had about 12 minutes per client.
After review of the discovery, I believe we can demonstrate a claim of innocence to the state of prosecutorial misconduct and insufficient evidence.
Huh?
Sorry, I got another client.
In one case, a public defender had to represent multiple people facing life sentences the same week they passed the bar exam.
This, I mean, that sounds like, first of all, a very rare occasion, and also in a different country. It's different legal processes and everything. It's got no relevance.
So the above review is of the same law firm that I use, but from another client. I shan't name them, however, as I did not find them to be unfriendly. I thought they were trying their best. They just didn't build the best defence, and only one.
Because you're not there to build a defence, you silly twat. You're in a plea hearing. You're pleading guilty or not guilty. You're not going up there and making huge debates. Huge debate. Anything to do with the legal system in courts, people want, like judges, everything like that, they want direct answers. They want only the important things addressed. And people like you who would want to waffle on and go on for God only knows how long are a nightmare for them. Are an absolute nightmare.
Wanted to handle mitigation. I believed I was pleading to the possession element only, hence why it is reported that I was confused in court and there was a break as a result.
There was a brief adjournment after, yeah, well, this is going to fuck you even more. This is going to fuck you even more. So, what I will sort of explain here is what she's hoping for is that she can overturn this guilty plea. So she's entered a guilty plea. She would like to then now remove that guilty plea. She's had a little think about it. She's had a little thinky, and she's decided that now everybody on social media knows she's a nonce. She would like to change that. She thought, in her own words earlier on, a solicitor said this would get no media attention, so she thought she could quietly plead guilty for a nonce who chops crimes and nobody would know about. But now it's out there. I'd like to change her mind. Now, to do that, it's extremely difficult. Once a plea's entered, it's extremely difficult. Now, she would have to show incompetence. She would have to show that she doesn't understand anything. But this part here, where it says there was a brief adjournment after Connolly appeared not to understand what the charges were being admitted, now this part is going to really fuck her when it comes to trying to get that guilty plea thrown out. The prosecution will be able to say, we stopped proceedings and explain things to you, and then proceeded. After we'd stopped proceedings, explained things to you so you understood what was happening, you then continued and proceeded. So highlighting that, you fucked yourself. You've absolutely fucked yourself. And anybody worth a salt will use that, because you think they're doing this to help you out or to help you out. They know, man. They're playing chess, you're playing checkers. They know they give you that time, then later on you can't say that you were just so bamboozled and had no idea. It says it there in black and white, which for some reason you've decided to highlight, that they explained it to you before resuming. Like, honestly.
Assault. In the moment, I was panicking and I felt bad for annoying the sheriff by not understanding what I was apparently claiming to have done. So I went into autism masking mode and went along with it. And it turns out I'd pled guilty to the creation of the images, which is not correct. That's why I was confused as well, right? So when they're reading out charges and what they're going to do, and I was like, I think that's right, because I'm like, surely my sister will be saying the right thing, right? They were not going to be saying it wrong, are they?
You just had it explained to you. Oh my God. Why does she keep inserting things from True TV, from a drama channel about US?
The fact is, the deck is stacked against us and our clients in every single case.
But then I was
Why is she inserting these clips as though it's evidence, as though it backs her up? This is ridiculous.
like, but hang on, like, I didn't make them, and yeah, it was a whole mess. You see me roll, and they hate.
Oh my God, imagine loving a meme that was created when you were in court pleading guilty for being...
I'm panicking.
Don't panic.
No, I am, because I'm going to lose my job.
But was you panicking when you...
She is delusional, you're right,
I
chat.
don't know who made that meme, but it's quite funny. Anyway, my life was ruined again, and I didn't realise it could get any more ruined than an incurable blood cancer, but here...
Oh my God. Where the hell is my tiny violin? Nobody cares if a nonce dies from blood cancer. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Nobody cares. Genuinely, nobody gives a fuck. No one cares. You didn't need to put this into this video because your conviction, your upcoming conviction, your guilty plea, what you have done has got nothing to do with you having blood cancer. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. This is only inserted into this video to try and make people feel sorry for you. Well, I don't feel sorry for you. Couldn't care less.
We are. So, immediately the media jumped onto the story. Originally, it was the STV pushing independence campaign to court with convenient...
Because you were. Because you were. You're an independent campaigner and you were caught with those images. That's exactly what you were. So that's why the news article said that.
Conveniently in the run-up to the May elections.
You weren't up for election. Nobody was waiting to make their votes depending on what you said, you absolute whopper.
As well as Kirsty from the Courier pushing an article revealing that I'm a Pride activist and Stirling University student.
Well, you were, until you got kicked out of the Pride because you're a nonce.
Well, of course, those articles are kind of clickbaity and politically motivated. They are nowhere near as bad as
Clickbaiter?
the backlash I faced from the transphobic press, as well as the far-right hate groups. This also led to me being immediately excluded from all my social...
I mean, I don't follow any far-right hate groups, obviously, but I don't know of any that have really gone at her. Like, yes, they've, it's like when you make a TikTok, it's like when you make any type of form of media, you want a hook that makes people read the article, watch the video, whatever it is. Saying exactly what you are as a thingy campaigner and everything caught with that is a hook, correct, but most people can separate the person from that. So just because you were caught with all that doesn't mean that that's then a problem for anybody in that sphere. It's not the way it works.
Groups, even Sterling Pride, who permanently excluded me without having even contacted me to verify if any of that information was even correct. This upset me, as I was also a founding committee member of Sterling
Nobody would have to. You pled guilty to having pseudo images of children.
Pride, and makes me realise that better processes should have absolutely been put in place. With
In praise. In praise. I wish it was put in praise.
Financial support, I was able to approach another law firm for a second opinion. They claim that I may have a potential defence under the reasonable and necessary purposes section of the 1982 Act.
Here she goes again. Here she goes again with this fucking act. She's going to say it's a really old law and that it doesn't cover modern things to do with AI. In our deep dive on her, we proved that it 100% does cover all those laws. It gets updated regularly and was last updated in 2025. So when she keeps saying it's an outdated law, she's talking shit. And there's no way that this wrongin hasn't watched a deep dive that I did. So even if she wasn't aware, she's had it spelt out in front of her onto a video that she could have fact checked herself. It's another shite defence or deflection from a crime.
Of course, this legislation was created decades before AI and even the internet.
Don't matter.
And this defence hasn't been tried yet, so it's understandable.
That's not true. That's not fucking true. There's no way that could be true.
My original legal aid team didn't consider it because it's a new defence, but it does make sense because there is that position in the Act that states that for reasonable purposes you can have a defence in that motive. Following that plea.
Did you see the jarring edit there? She waffled there, didn't make sense, and tried to edit it.
I was visited for the first time by SOPU, which is the Sex Offender Policing Unit, and this led to an unlawful device seizure.
An unlawful device seizure? She was arrested. Oh, fuck me. Christ. Imagine saying that you have an unlawful device seizure when the device had CSAM on it. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? How can it be an unlawful device seizure when they found the evidence on the device?
So, on the Thursday, I was visited by a male officer and a female officer. This was the first time this has happened and was an unannounced visit and first thing in the morning.
They don't tell you when they're raiding you. They don't say, like, hey, yeah, Amelia, yeah. Mm-hmm. We're thinking about raiding you later on. We're going to have a look and see if you've got any of that CSAM on your phone still. Yeah. So if you could, we don't want to have to go through the whole thing. So, no, if you could just not delete it or damage your device or get rid of your device before we turn up in the morning, that would be awesome. Have you got sugar for our coffees or should I bring some? Like, what the hell are you talking about? Of course they're not going to let you know. How the fuck would they tell you they were on their way?
And I felt the female officer was fair and reasonable, but the male officer came across as being very prejudiced and was asking very strange questions, as if he was desperate just to find fault in it.
It's not allegedly, Amy. It's not allegedly that this thing had CSAM on her device. She pled guilty and has talked quite openly about having pseudo images of children, which were graded as Category B and included a child's face imposed on people performing S-acts, including masturbation. If you catch me drift, there's no allegedly about them having it.
Anything. Throughout this page, I've censored police officers' identities as I do not wish to put any at risk, even if this one acted so incompetently it led to being on remand. So from now on, I refer to him as Baldy.
Now, I want to break this down, right? I want to break this down because this is the second device seizure she's talked about where she is saying that she was, arrested, whatever, put on remand unlawfully. And I'm going to tell you is why that's bollocks. Why that's bollocks. But we'll let her speak. So maybe I need a timeline actually. So originally she was raided. She had her devices taken. They found the images on her phone. She was then bailed back to her house and she was given instruction not to do certain things. And then this visit took place.
Many bold police officers, even within SOPU, so I'm absolutely avoiding identifying or putting him at risk.
And also the way she talks about this guy, because I did watch a little bit of it, it sounds like he's her OIC, so the officer in charge, putting out a 40-odd minute video of the officer in charge of your case and, calling them incompetent, doing all that. Yeah, that definitely won't make them really focus on doing the most thorough investigation that they can put forward on you, will it?
Because, while I don't like him, what he did to me was incredibly traumatic. He put me through hell, and he
put you through hell. He arrested you for breaching bail.
Violated my human rights, or at least caused the system as a whole to violate my human rights, through his actions that then,
Oh, shut up. We'll break that down too. Christ
down the
almighty.
line. I wouldn't want harm to come to him.
Do you know, like, her solicitor would be saying to her, if you remove this guilty plea, which I don't think she's going to be able to, but in some wild thing, if you were able to do that and then you took this to trial, you're likely to go to jail because you've had a guilty plea, then you've took out the guilty plea, then you've gone to trial, and you get found guilty anyway. They're going to lump you with a harsher sentence because you fucked the court system about.
I think, sure, I think he should probably face consequences in terms of his conduct, but not, from the public. Anyway, Baldy decided that because I had been sent nudes on a dating app, that I could potentially be offending, even though the images were of a grown adult sent from a lesbian dating app that requires age verification. Like, literally, just ask any of my exes.
Right. Now, this is a weird section here. Now, I believe that I don't want to call the guy Baldy, but this police officer, right, may have been given, indication that she sent explicit images of herself on a dating app to somebody completely legal. But if she's been bailed and told that she shouldn't have any new devices without registering those devices with the police because she's on bail for sexual crimes to do with children, then she's breached her bail. So if somebody's then reported her for that, then he has the right to investigate that. How's she using this mobile phone app? Because she hasn't told us she's using a phone. Because a lot of these get bailed and then they get given these kind of restrictions. So
This can now be placed in your bag.
That, like, it makes no sense. It was literally an adult on a dating app I matched with that sent me them. Anyway, unfortunately, Baldy is not aware of what a woman's body looks like, so he decided to seize all the devices on my property, putting me in a very vulnerable position. No further charges were made in relation to these devices, however, they've still not been returned. So he didn't charge me on that Thursday.
Doesn't have to. Doesn't have to. Doesn't have to, like, your devices as well, by the way. All your devices that have been seized, they're going to be destroyed. Just let you know. You pled guilty, it's looking like you're going to get found guilty. You will not get your devices back. Any devices that have been seized from you in an active investigation that then comes out with a guilty plea, they're going to be destroyed. You're not going to get them back. You're never going to get them back. If you went and bought another phone now and then it got took off you, you're never going to get it back. You're just not going to.
He just took all my devices.
Okay. That's lawful. So I don't understand why you said it's not.
So, the return of Baldy. After the police officers left, I went back to bed, as my cancer obviously caused me to have very limited energy. It's known to be a chronic illness.
Listening to you gives me limited energy.
When I woke up later, I remembered that I had an old Android Doro phone that might be in a bag at the end of my bed.
Here we go. So this is where the bail gets breached and she gets remanded, and she's saying this is unlawful. She just remembered that she had another device that she hasn't told the police about. So she's been released on bail. She's been told that she needs to tell them whether she's using a device, needs to register the device with the police for checks and all that sort of crap. Oh, I just remembered I've got a random device they don't know about.
I found it and I put my SIM card into it. The SOPU team told me that if I bought a new phone, and this is actually Baldy specifically said this, I had to call them to declare it. But I simply found the Doro phone.
Wow. Now, this is something under the reasonable person test. So you are now trying to say, because they said if you buy a new phone, then this is different. That's you thinking that you can manipulate that legally when you know, or that you have another device that they don't know about. It's the same crack. And I don't think the police would have said it like that to you. Regardless, the reasonable person test, they would just say, like, what would a reasonable person think if they're under investigation like that and they discover a device? So this is a breach of bail. that she's going to say was wrongful. It's not wrongful at all. It's not wrongful. She was told to let them know if she was using devices, and she's not. So
they were already aware of.
For all the police know, she already knew that device was there and intended fully on using it.
From seeing the box earlier. So I thought I would simply check with them at the station the following day because I had to go to complete notification requirements anyway. I posted.
I just want to just skimmed over that. I had to complete my notification requirements. She has to notify probably weekly, daily, God only knows what it is. So she has to go into a police station every however often as part of her bail conditions because she's under investigation as a sex offender against children. So she's just sort of glossing past that. I had to notify anyway. That's what that means.
TikTok comment reply explaining what happened that evening. I described it as a police raid because that is how uncomfortable Body made me feel, you know, especially with like line of questioning and such. I got raided again because they came back because they're so lovely like that. And they said, oh, because you're on bail, we actually have a condition where we can do regular searches of your devices, and you have to let them.
Yeah, that's true. That's another one for sex offenders. And when she gets convicted as a sex offender, this could also continue on for her. Where a mapper agent, it is in the UK, maybe it's different in Scotland, but they can just rock up. You're on the register, we're doing a random check of your devices. And at the time being, she's obviously on bail for this. So that is, once again, legally sound. She keeps trying to make out that it's not, it's some sort of victimization.
Without warrant. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I mean, it's not, but do it. At this point, I'm used to being oppressed. So they said,
oh, fuck off.
Well, we need to take all your devices to do searches on with cybercrime. So I was like, okay, fine. It's not fine at all. It's horrendous. It's really left me feeling vulnerable and scared. But they just take everything anyway because they don't give a shit about, you know, the people they're meant to protect. They're just doing their
They're trying to protect children from you.
jobs, aren't they? And I won't expose the actual individuals. You know, they're just doing their jobs in a broken system. But it's the system's fault that it's allowing people to be treated like this. I think it's disgusting. So,
apart from the video that you've done on YouTube, having a go at this particular police officer. The one who probably just saw through all your bullshit.
Yeah, with no rights whatsoever, just take everything. And it's not like a robbery where you can report it to the police, you can claim things back on insurance
because it's not a robbery.
Things are being stolen by the
Yeah, things are being stolen that are being used in a criminal act. So it's the same as like if somebody gets done for fraud and they seize your assets, you don't go to the insurance company and claim those assets back because they've been taken off me because I'm under investigation. That's ridiculous. They've been used to commit a crime.
Police by the law enforcement. It is this weird sort of lawless dictatorship where police can just take whatever they want, whenever they want. The next day when
they can't. They're like, absolutely fuck off. They explain to you that because you're on bail for serious sex offences towards children, part of those bail conditions is they can do random searches. It's completely lawful. You've literally explained that and then said it was unlawful 2 minutes later.
Body came on shift, he was made aware of the TikTok and was clearly annoyed that I had
She's a professional victim, isn't she, chat?
Posted about his actions. So he came back to my house first thing in the morning with a different female officer who, to her credit, was really lovely, actually. She was. Body believed that due to me not giving them the Doro phone, I'd breached my bail, so he arrested me.
I agree. Yeah.
This was on Friday morning. I was held in full custody until Monday evening. Over 100 hours, right?
Yeah, but that's standard too, because there's no court on the weekend, so you'd be held till court on the Monday.
When GOAME finally took me to court because they fucked up all like the transport. So, the injustice system.
Oh, fuck me. She thought she was clever with that one.
If being held in a custody cell for over 100 hours wasn't insane enough, the sheriff chose to remand me on Monday evening. Apparently he remanded every single person that day, and they wonder why Scottish prison service is so overcrowded.
Because there's people like you. Also, to remand people, you know, they have to hit certain levels to remand people. How the hell would you know if they remanded every person that day? Notice the use of the word apparently. You wouldn't know that unless you'd sat in court with that judge all day. You wouldn't fucking know, would you? And if you had the information for every case that judge had seen that day, and then you requested the information for all of those cases, you would have to wait potentially up to 8 days for updates on it. So you're just talking shit. Again, more bullshit.
Initially, I was to be sent to a women's prison in Stirling. However, the transphobic powers that be had scribbled over the
The transphobic powers that be. My Christ. Maybe it's because you're a nonce and a risk, deemed a risk.
court document and wrote that I should instead be taken to HMP Low Moss, a male prison. Right? This is ridiculous. So the GeoAmy people that were taking me to court had documents that showed I was going to Stirling. They knew I was going to go to Stirling, a women's prison. They were preparing me, telling me about Stirling, saying I'd be going there. And then when they came out of court, someone literally like scribbled it out and wrote take to HMP Low Moss. And they did.
But they could have had other reasons for that as well. It could have been about your disabilities and how that particular prison may be able to handle you better. So, like, honestly, just get over it.
I mean, that is insane.
What's insane is that you are a pedo and you think that you're innocent in some way when you've clearly done this stuff.
Definitely is reviewing by Equality Human Rights Commission. Anyway.
I'm sure they'll get right on that.
So, I was kept there for 6 weeks with no access to any of my private medications that I'm fully dependent on, and very unreliable access to my NHS prescriptions. This led to me becoming incredibly unwell.
Private medications. So you've got private diagnosis, presumably, that then pays private medications. So that's why they're excluded. And then the NHS ones, I actually genuinely couldn't care less. I couldn't care less whether you couldn't get access to your medications, whether it made things worse for you. It gives me some actual hope in the prison system, because I don't think people with crimes like yours should be living a nice life in prison. So I could not care less. I don't know what you think, chat.
Including my cancer increasing in size in my neck. In fact, you know what? I'll demonstrate this now because I can. It's easy. I mean, obviously, there's also cancer lumps in my chest, stomach, and armpits, but the neck one you can see. So, see here. Let me see.
Just looks like a roll of fat, I'm not going to lie.
See if I can show them. There's like 2. Can you see the little break?
Oh, maybe, but who cares?
This one here.
Is it sore? I hope it's sore.
That was what it was like when I went into prison. This one between my 2 fingers, yeah. And then you see this where it's grown up. It's gone up here. That one, that's new.
I'm Team Lump. what hashtag Team Lump in the chat. So like, who cares?
Here, see, it's not on this side at all. So that one's completely
Oh well, fingers crossed. We'll get some on that side as well.
flat. Here you can see new cancer lumps. That's because I was neglected and not given access to proper healthcare.
Yeah, like, woohoo! Celebrate!
Right, so this led to me becoming incredibly well, including my cancer increasing in size of my neck. The SPS officers were very friendly people, you know, to their credit, they were lovely, doing their jobs, decent folk, can't complain about them. But prison is a horrible place to be from a healthcare perspective, as well. The frontline
Good. Good.
staff are pleasant. It is very poorly ran and over capacity. I also missed several family visits and calls due to staffing or management issues within the prison, and I often couldn't make phone calls as I kept running out of credit. I missed several court dates.
That's kind of a self-snitch, because you're also telling everyone that your family's sticking by you while you're going through these serious charges which you pled guilty to. So you kind of put your family on blast a bit by saying that they were standing by you and having meetings and stuff like that. Now, I couldn't imagine what it's like to have a child that has done this sort of shit, but you put them on blast there. You did that.
Due to GeoAmy and the SPS failing to arrange wheelchair transport, this led to me being held for over 6 weeks unnecessarily. I was on
No, it was necessary. You're a nonce.
remand for 6 weeks without, access to a fair trial. Anyway, I held out in prison until I could face.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Oh, I can't believe it. Can you read that on the screen? How could she be including this in her feel sorry for me stuff? I don't know what I can say on here. I can say anything, but I may re-upload this onto YouTube. And if I have, and you're watching this, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button. But I don't know if I can read the H word. Basically, I don't know. But we become the registration number tattooed on our arm. So obviously they're talking about the camps, and obviously they had the narc
trial, despite the torture I faced, you know, given my
torture. Torture. Fuck off.
health and the fact I didn't have access to proper healthcare. And I still remember my prison number off by heart, and I had it written on my arm. I had to. Every time you went for meds, they'd be like, you know, what's your number? And you'd have to remember it. So I always had to write on my arm, and I just remembered like how ironic that was, thinking back to history and how, you know, historically we know minorities have been persecuted in similar ways to people assuming now because I'm trans that I just must be some dangerous person.
No, you're a nonce. You pled guilty. Has nothing to do with you being trans. Like, I'm sure the trans community would love to boot you out of it if they could.
Just because you have rights today does not mean that you will have rights tomorrow.
Where's she getting these clips from? They're completely irrelevant. Completely irrelevant.
Yeah, history repeats itself. Anyway. Every time there was a court hearing, my solicitor motioned for bail due to my declining health, and every time was met with the same robotic response. It is the responsibility of the Scottish Prison Service to provide healthcare to those on remand. By the sheriff, who completely ignored the suffering I was going through.
Fucking suffering.
The European Convention of Human Rights states an absolute prohibition of torturing prisoners. In response...
What torture? What torture? Because you're remanded, you're in jail and you don't want to be in jail. That's torture. That's torture. Well, you know, maybe you shouldn't commit the crime. You're going to potentially spend a longer time in there if you do get this plea thrown out and you go to trial. So get ready for that. She probably thinks that she can, like, stand up in court and represent herself. She's one of those deluded fucks, isn't she?
To the atrocities of Nazi rule and World War II.
As if she's drawing such comparisons with her situation. You're going to absolutely get to fuck, man.
No one shall be subject to torture or to inhumane or degrading treatment or punishment in all circumstances.
What punishment were you getting? You were remanded because you breached your bail?
Human dignity must be respected, even in detention. Acts of torture.
She's getting. I don't know about you guys, but this part of the video, she's starting to get mad, isn't she?
Torture or ill treatment must be considered as criminal offences.
Criminal.
And that's from the Council of Europe. I've hyperlinked it. You can click through if you want to verify.
No thanks.
That. Yes, there's Brexit, but the UK is still bound by the...
Why is she inserting some of these things? Like, nobody cares that you were there. They booted you out because you're a nonce. Like, nobody cares what you did beforehand. It's completely irrelevant now.
CHR. Right. Now, I'm talking about our rights as European citizens, and as I'm a fierce advocate for the European Union, below I will comment...
A fierce advocate. They wouldn't want you advocating for anything.
...on some of the other human rights violations that I believe have been committed by Scottish authorities in my case. And this... yeah, it's something I obviously know a lot about, as you can see.
As you can see, she has a little certificate. Fuck off.
June 2025, I won the award at the European Parliament in Strasbourg for the Best European Citizens Initiative proposal to improve gender-affirming care. So obviously I understand sort of our rights as Europeans quite well. Actually, as well, only like a week before...
So, you know, Amelia, how you're trying to get your guilty plea overturned, and you're going to try and say things like, I didn't understand what was going on, I don't have good capacity, but then you're putting out a 40-odd minute video explaining European human rights law, and can you see the contradiction in this? Can you see the contradiction in this? Now, I'm not saying what you're citing is correct, but you're not exactly showing somebody without capacity, are you?
I was arrested. I was actually meeting with the vice president of the European Commission, who's an absolute icon. Love her in
I bet she doesn't love you right now.
the Westminster.
This whole video is a self, it just absolutely do her in.
University. So yeah, I do a lot of work with the European Union and to promote Scotland's rightful.
You don't. She said, I do a lot of work. You don't. Nobody wants you involved anymore.
Place in it. So I'm genuinely terrified as to where the UK is headed post-Brexit with regards to the blatant disregard for our human rights and the ECHR, which is basically like the European version of the Constitution. You know, Americans like defend our Constitution.
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman.
I was going to say before, I was going to say before that she might as well include a clip from Better Call Saul because all the other clips that she's used have been complete fantasy and blown up exaggerations. But she actually has used a clip of Better Call Saul as a...
Did you know that you have rights? The Constitution says you do, and so do I. I believe that until proven guilty, every man, woman, and child in this country is innocent.
It's like that, yeah? You kind of have to protect the Constitution.
Yeah, well, we have guilty until... Was it innocent until proven guilty? But guess what, bitch? You pled guilty. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, it is innocent until proven guilty, but you pled guilty. I just can't get it.
Of the ECHR, because that is what protects us from war. Right. I believe that forcing me onto cellular confinement, placing me as a woman in a male prison, and denying me access to healthcare is all in direct violation of the European Convention.
You said you received healthcare. Wasn't to your standard that you would have liked, but you received healthcare, which you probably received the minimum, which is all they have to give you. And like I said, there could have been other reasons behind them putting you in that prison.
Convention on Human Rights and should be challenged in the European courts.
And you wouldn't have been treated any... If you'd been put in a female prison, you wouldn't have been treated any differently either. You would have not been treated any differently. You would have been in solitary because of your disabilities. And it would have been exactly the same.
Believe in an independent Scotland rejoining the EU, but clearly we have a long way to go. Had I pled guilty, I could have potentially been released sooner. I find that disgraceful that I was basically punished for seeking a fair trial, right? I kept being told, if you say you're guilty, you might be able to get your bail reviewed sooner. But I know I'm not guilty, because I know that I didn't hide anything and I know I followed the rules.
So this is interesting. So they've put an extra charge on Quagmire. So they put an extra charge, which is obviously breach of bail or failure. She might have been put on a temporary register, like a lot of nonces do. When they've pled guilty or they're out on bail, they can get put on a temporary sex offenders register. I'm not sure what it's called in Scotland. But then obviously if she breached that with the mobile phone issue, then that's a charge. So she was also held for that as well, it sounds like.
Anyway, I also believe...
And also people have an issue with me calling this Quagmire looking thing Quagmire. Oh, it's because they have I don't care, which is a nonce. As far as I'm concerned, they have no human rights. I do not show them the same respect as I would show anybody else that don't care, could not care less.
The monitoring of device activity that started this whole thing, with TikTok, and the Online Safety Act violates the European Convention on Human Rights, Article 8. Everyone has the right for his private and family life, his home and his correspondence.
So she is now annoyed that because basically what happened, the Online Safety Act, what they decided was that they made apps and they made people who make things like Twitter and TikTok and all that, they made those people more accountable for censoring certain content from children and doing things to protect children from getting on the devices. So because they have to follow these sort of procedures now to operate within the UK, then I assume that she is now saying that because CapCut acted in the way that it's supposed to, it sees that the CSAM on the device and reports independently that that they've come across this and banned the account or whatever they did. She's annoyed that the Online Safety Act allows companies to do that. I mean that's a huge self-snitch in itself. Like, there are a lot of things that you could have an issue with the Online Safety Act, the collecting of data on people and things like that. But stuff to do with that, it's kind of wild that you have an issue with that. But it's very telling. You're basically annoyed that the act allowed you to be caught in the first place.
This right embodies the right to a name, the right to change one's civil status, and to acquire a new identity, and protection
But you have.
against telephone tapping, collection of private information by a state security service, and publications infringing privacy. This right also enables members of a national...
That right doesn't exist when it comes to committing crimes like this. These things do not get actioned upon in the way that you're talking, and they look so upset.
Minority to have a traditional lifestyle. We should not be facing this state-sanctioned oppression. Anyway, that's also from the Council of Europe.
So that's, I'm annoyed that the new law meant that I got caught for having CSAM on my phone. That's what that was.
If you want to click it through. The Scottish Prison Service also violated Article 6 by not allowing me the right to a fair trial within the time frame. This might have also been
Jesus, is she trying to speed run?
GOAME or SPS. I know sometimes they blame SPS, sometimes it's GOAME. It's one of them. Anyway, it's Scottish Government or someone under it.
A right to a quick trial. You were only in there 6 weeks. And I don't understand what she means. I don't
One is
understand
entitled
this
to
one.
a fair public hearing within a reasonable time by an...
And is she making t-shirts like this? Because this is fucking shit. Who's going to buy them?
Independent, impartial tribunal. All persons charged with an offence shall be presumed innocent until proven guilty.
You pled guilty. What the fuck? This is, honestly, this is going to hurt my head by the end of this.
Yeah, I was constantly failed to go to court because they did not book the proper wheelchair transport. So I couldn't go to court and I was held in prison for much longer than I should have been.
But that's not a human rights violation. That's not a human rights violation. If they took away your chair and you were left in your cell to piss yourself or something like that, you could claim that that was a human rights violation. Them having transport issues getting you to court is not a human rights violation. It's just ridiculous.
Anyway, I am also entitled to compensation from the Scottish Government.
Good luck.
As they have breached Article 5, the right to liberty and security. Everyone has the right to liberty. Everyone arrested shall be informed of the reasons for the arrest and
You were?
Shall be entitled to a trial within a...
You were given a trial, you pled guilty.
A fair and reasonable length of time, or to be released pending trial.
You were released pending trial and then you were arrested for breaching bail. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
This right protects people against arbitrary arrest and detention. You know, like what Baldy did to me.
Baldy arrested you because you breached bail. Like, it's not a false arrest.
Anyone whose arrest or detention is contrary to the rights guaranteed by Article 5 is entitled to compensation. So, I better get that moolah. Anyway, in certain
You're not.
cases linked with the protection of law and order, however, deprivation of liberty may be authorised but must uphold the rights secured in the Convention. Again, you can click through to Council of Europe if you want to check my references there. Baldy arresting me for publishing a TikTok that he didn't like is also, obviously violates that one above, and also...
We didn't arrest you for... You've already said this person is a moron. This is an absolute moron. Now, I've reacted to some morons every time on social media, and especially when it's like a predator like this who tries to publicly defend themselves, they inevitably just shoot themselves in the foot constantly. You've already told us that Baldy turned up because of your, usage of an internet dating site and the fact that it's suspected that you had a phone that you hadn't declared and everything like that. It wasn't because he'd seen a TikTok that you think he didn't like. It had nothing to do. It could have been that he posted a TikTok and he'd be thinking, "How she got a phone?"
In direct contravention to Article 10, my freedom of expression. So it's
You like freedom of expression? Fuck you, nonce. How's that for freedom of expression?
similar to freedom of speech in America. We have freedom of expression in Europe. Now, everyone has the right to freedom of expression and to receive and impart information. This right also covers the freedom of press. So important. Freedom of expression.
Yeah, the press reported on you and you didn't like it.
Is one of the essential foundations of a democratic society. The media require particular protection because they play a key role in defending.
Like independent journalists. Thank you.
Freedom of expression. Article 10 protects, amongst others, the right to criticize, to make assumptions, or value judgments.
I am so glad that I'm protected by this. Thank you, Amelia. That's lovely.
And the right to have opinions.
I've got an opinion. I want to see more cancer lumps on you. There we go. That's an opinion. I would love to see it. I think it would really make you just look great. You would look really good.
So I can say Baldy's a twat on here because that's my opinion. Okay. Anyway.
Oh.
You know, maybe he's a nice person outside of it, but he's not very good at his job. Anyway, they're showing sometimes unlawful seizures.
I think he's pretty good at his job, and I mean, you tell me, chap, right? Narcissists, and I'm not saying that she is a narcissist because everyone gets diagnosed as a narcissist online. You could say that there's traits on display here, like narcissistic collapse, for example, but they don't like being, "You're wrong, this is why you're wrong." And this investigating officer that she's talking about probably didn't curtail to her bullshit and didn't entertain any of her big flights of fancy stories and all this sort of stuff. So that's probably why she has a disdain for this man, because he sees straight through it. He sees straight through it. And also another thing, you can guarantee that when they were arrested and questioned under caution, they talked. I can't see Amelia doing a no comment interview. I can just see them blah, 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 blah. Very much like this video. So she's probably shot herself in the foot, God only knows how many times, in the interview audio and footage that they'll have.
My property without fair compensation actually also violates ECHR Article 1 of Protocol Number 1. Everyone has the right to own property and to use its possessions. No one...
This is because she had her phone taken that had CSAM on it.
Shall be deprived of his property unless public necessity so demands, and if so, the state must guarantee fair compensation, which they have not done. They have consistently stolen...
I wonder if that law applies to, I don't know, what was the law? It's about time we brought AI in on this shit, wasn't it?
So it's similar to freedom of speech in America. We have freedom of expression in Europe. Now,
for God's sake.
Everyone has the right to freedom of expression and to receive and impart information. So, whether I will ever receive justice for this remains to be seen, but I feel it is incredibly important that I raise these issues, as it genuinely terrifies me that we are potentially seeing a very far-right, very Nazi-esque approach to politics. So whether you believe I'm innocent or not is actually irrelevant.
You pled guilty
to this, right, in terms of human rights, because they apply to everyone. Hence why I never complain about or try to interfere with the journalists at court, even though obviously what they do pisses me off, because they might not be that bad, but then they post stuff about me, which gets, you know, Chinese whispered for all the different...
Well, that is not an okay term to be using nowadays, Amelia. As somebody who's liberal-minded, Christ, I think you need to educate yourself on... Yeah, I think you need to educate yourself on that. I think you really need to educate yourself on using that statement in 2026. Like, absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
groups, and then I'm getting people sending me death threats. Anyway, I support that.
People don't like nonsense. Get used to it.
The right to freedom of expression, even though it can sometimes very much not be in my favour. My experience of the Scottish legal system feels very much like a mob rule or a witch
Maybe you should try the clip feature you've got, see if you'd make some good clips.
trial, and it certainly doesn't feel fully democratic. So, what happened on release? After I was eventually able to start my trial at Alloa Sheriff Court, the two female officers were very competent on the stand, and they backed my side of events. You know, no issues with female officers, they were great. Proving that I was always honest about the fact that I didn't know where that Doro phone was, and they left my house knowing that it was still there. I just couldn't remember where in that exact moment due to being autistic, obviously tied with my cancer, and...
Shut the absolute fuck up. Now, basically, if you declared to the officers, oh, I think there's another phone here somewhere, there's no way that they wouldn't have then said to you, if you come across this phone, you need to come and hand it into a station and tell us immediately. So your story beforehand, where you said that Baldy had said you only needed to let us know if you buy a new phone as part of your register requirements, there is absolutely no way that they wouldn't have told you that if you find the phone, you don't need to hand it in. They would have specifically talked to you about it. So I'm sorry, like, you're just talking shite. This is ridiculous.
just unexpectedly visited.
And this is what I mean, like, this video will do her more damage legally, because she's been waffling on for 30 odd minutes. Just forgot about what she said earlier on.
Out of the blue. Unfortunately, it was a split trial, and I was sent back to prison to wait for Baldy to attend court so that his side of events could be put into evidence. He was very incompetent on the stand and perverted the course of justice by...
By the way, chat, we only have her recollection of this. This is what she's saying of a man that she's already had issue with because he's called her out. So if he was so incompetent that he jailed you, remanded you, and it broke, huge rules or everything like that, has he been fired? Is he facing his own criminal trial for false imprisonment? He probably isn't, is he?
Ignoring the sheriff's instructions to not speak on the interaction from prior to him cautioning me. He felt it was appropriate to bombard me with questions first thing in the Friday morning, suspecting me of a crime without reading me my rights. Oh my god, the incompetence of Baldy never fails to amaze me. Anyway, shockingly, when cross-examined by my solicitor, Baldy claimed that it was not necessary to caution somebody who he suspected of a criminal offence. My solicitor rightly pointed out that this is completely incorrect. I believe
we only have her version of events here.
Baldy poses a risk to society as he holds authority under the Police Service of Scotland but does not abide by Scottish law under Section 31 of the Criminal Justice Scotland Act 2016.
I like when they get annoyed.
Police must inform a suspect of their rights. The caution...
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Emmy makes a great point there. So if she was arrested, she's already been cautioned. She's already been cautioned upon arrest.
Before any interview begins, it specifically states you do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence, and you do not mention when questioned something which you later learn in court. Anything you do say may be given as evidence.
That was incredibly jarring. What the fuck?
See why that's important? Even more important than the Act itself is a long-standing rule in Scots law. Statements made but to police are only admissible if they were obtained fairly. If evidence is obtained by unfair questioning, like him showing up first thing in the morning...
So, what she's saying here is she thinks she's got a big win here because she thinks that the evidence collected under the investigation of the breach of bail and the mobile phone could be dismissed in her fantasy world. She's got away with something. That's what it basically is. That's what she thinks. It just doesn't work like that. I'm sorry, it's a load of crap. This police officer would be in deep shit if they'd done this stuff. And I mean, like, they would be out of a job, they'd be suspended, they'd be facing gross misconduct proceedings. They could even face criminal proceedings for false arrest. Is it false arrest or is it kidnap or something like that held against something? There's some sort of charge. I can't remember what it is.
Bombarding me with questions without a caution, it can be excluded. Unfair includes questioning a suspect without informing them of their rights. Scottish courts should treat this as a fundamental safeguard, and this is also a direct violation of the European Convention of Human Rights, Article 6.
Christ.
Yet again. Due to Baldy's utter discontent for the Scottish legal system and our rights as European citizens, evidence prior to caution, where I was overwhelmed, felt threatened, couldn't get my words out, etc., was used to find me guilty of the breach of bail offence.
Sorry, I've not watched this, like I watched about 10 minutes of it yesterday and I got bored and thought I'd watch it with you guys and break it down, a bit of a blind reaction. So after all of that, you were found guilty. Oh God, I haven't read that news article actually. I haven't read that news article. I'm going to find it. Sterling student AI images. Let's find it. What does it say? A transgender woman fronted the videos after being charged with the offence. They were shared on the university social media page, interviewing students about their time at the institution. That's something completely different. There were 4 images. I need to remind everyone of this as well, because she's played it down and said these were like Simpsons images. 4 images recovered during a search of her phone. What's this? AI These were all artificial intelligence generated images showing a female child's face on an adult body. The images showed sexualized posing and emasculation and had a creation date. I've not seen this. I don't think this has been in news articles before. A creation date of October 30, 2024. She was only arrested for this stuff in 2025. So she's had these images on her device for a long time. Interesting that. That's not been out. That's very interesting. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Very interesting. That's right in the chat that she was arrested last year, at the end of last year. So she's going to have had that on her device for a long time.
I feel like I've been completely failed as an autistic woman, as my autism symptoms were not properly taken into account. This was a judgment made by a single sheriff who postponed sentencing until the next main
That's all he has to do. That's his job.
case is handled in Falkirk. He believed that I intentionally concealed the Dorophone. That's obviously
I agree with him.
untrue. And there would be no reason for me to have done so, as there was nothing unlawful found on that device. My plan now is to withdraw the guilty plea to the original.
Yeah, but that could be because you were caught before you were going to do something unlawful. It doesn't really matter. Your restrictions were not to have a device. Simple. So you broke it.
Matter. So that'll be at the next, sentence in Falkirk. And then hopefully we'll be able to appeal the breach of bail conviction.
I didn't realise how bad shit it got for this Nancy Chops, which is great to hear. So the more charges this idiot gets, the longer they're eventually going to hopefully spend in jail. So they've pled guilty to the original offence, the AI images, which she thinks that she's going to be able to get the guilty plea overturned, which isn't going to fucking happen. It's insanely hard to do, as we've already discussed. And then secondly, she's got another one where she's been found guilty of a breach of bail, and she thinks she's going to be able to appeal that one as well. You're fucked. You are absolutely done. You are absolutely done. Absolutely done.
Following sentencing.
And if this has been a breach of bail, which I reported yesterday, then you might have another one in your case.
Okay, I also attached a random picture of me with Nicola Sturgeon because, yeah, the media loves it, putting us together. And Nicola
I bet she doesn't.
Sturgeon's iconic. I love her. Obviously, I don't know her that well, and I can't say what's going on with her husband or whatever. But you know, I do feel for her because she seems to be in a similar situation to me at the moment. We're both
Yeah, sentencing is always a joke with these offenders. I agree, chat. The thing is, though, if she, as I said before, if she gets her guilty plea taken out somehow, which I don't know how she would because it would be extremely difficult, but if she did, and then she went to trial and she was found guilty, they're going to slap her with a harsher punishment because she ran the court around in circles and took the piss as well. So,
sort of under attack by the media. Anyway, some additional information I just feel is important to clarify. So this case is due to an automated detection system in TikTok that
and also, for example, Weehoos, right, in the chat. So if they have done a social work report on her, which it was ordered before, and that social work report says that she's unable to work, for example, because of her health conditions, well, that removes something that she can do as part of a lighter sentencing. She can't do community service. So, right, okay, so that option's not available for us. So things like that can lead to a jail sentence.
reported unlawful pseudo AI generated cartoons, some of which I didn't realise were sent to Telegram and CapCut on an iPhone I rarely used during the period I was undergoing chemotherapy.
To send to CapCut, as I've said before, you've got to have opened it on your device. You've got to have opened CapCut and then chose the image to either upload it yourself somewhere or edit the image. Nobody's buying it.
Therapy. And the ones I was aware of, I had reported to the police already, as you could see from the above, stuff, the emails. There are no children or victims involved with this case. I'm being called like some kind of child sex offender.
You're a child sex offender. The department that are looking into you, remember, at the bottom of that email, the department who are dealing with you are and online child sex abuse and exploitation, OCSA, are the people who are investigating you. So why would that be? Because you are one.
It makes no sense. I have no interest in children. I don't know where that has come from.
Probably the AI images of children performing sex acts on your phone. Probably that. If I had to make a guess, probably that.
I've absolutely not abused anyone. There are no victims, and this case has nothing to do with real children. The fake stories that are shared online, as I previously said.
So who was there was a real image of a child photoshopped on those. So are you telling me that real person doesn't exist?
Are of ex-Bloxco employees who are conspiring to try to keep their games more popular than mine, because the more they can attack me,
can't wait for you to say that to a judge,
the more they get me blacklisted, the more they can get my games pushed down, and the more they can make more money.
Your games are shit.
It's very financially motivated. Anyway, I'm a fierce advocate for the rights of children, and I back the NSPCC wholeheartedly.
I bet they don't want anything to do with you.
I stand firmly against sexual offenders, and I myself am the victim of sexual assaults.
And I like, it makes, this doesn't change the facts of anything of what you've done.
This is also why I find it's, it pisses me off so much, because I report so much and I've been a victim of so much, and yet fuck all happens, and then
maybe you were deemed to be bullshitting.
Have all the time and money and resources to harass me.
Like, I would never normally question anything like this, but you are a liar. You've been caught out in so many lies, so much bullshit, so much word salad and manipulation. You are not trustworthy. So who the hell would believe you? And you've done this. You're not a person of good character.
For keeping evidence that the police told me that I had to keep. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, this is a relatively small case that would usually not attract any media attention and would simply just be subject to a social work order to assess the background of the generated images. Unfortunately, the media has jumped onto this to use the headline "Independence Campaign Accord," using my situation as political football to smear a wider movement. The media has tried to make out that I took or created indecent images, which they got from the plea, but this is untrue. The only part I agreed was correct is the element of take-make. as in the device took a download and made a copy of the images sent to it. That can also sometimes be called creation, confusingly, even though...
But then you were using the images within CapCut, which is an app for creating edits. Just gonna put it out there. We don't fucking know.
You didn't originally create the images, because the law's weird. Anyway, this is automatic in many cases, you know, like Telegram, WhatsApp, etc., and happens without any criminal intent. Mens rea. Unfortunately, due to the complex legal language, this has been severely misinterpreted by both journalists and the public as a whole. Now, I think this is important because I might sound angry or crazy or weird or whatever. I always get told
You definitely do.
that I'm weird, and weird isn't illegal, so that means nothing.
Corey, I will be re-uploading this onto YouTube at some point, probably for Saturday, I think.
You know, I am diagnosed with autism, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, severe depression, anxiety, and a rare form of blood cancer, NLPHL. I'm also emotionally immature
I'm Team Cancer on this one.
in the sense that at the age of 17, I was diagnosed with like a mental age of 12. So I am, you know, socially disabled, and I may not always say things like 100% correct, but I am genuinely trying my best to get my points across, and please be patient and try to understand. You know, I do get people telling me like, hey, the way you phrase this isn't helpful, people may not like you if you say it like this or whatever, but I am just being my genuine self, and I'm showing you my genuine emotions, and I'm showing you like, this is what I'm going through, this is what happened, okay? And like, I think it's really important that people know the truth, because the headlines aren't giving them to you. And that's why I felt like, yeah. I'm also keeping these on here. So
this is all wild and all bullshit as well, isn't it?
So the comments from some of the online community that I believe may add some helpful clarifications and just some additional information that clear up some misconceptions. So regardless of in the eyes of the law, it's in your possession. And that's why I said 100%, and that's why it's technically, I thought it was technically guilty for being on the device, which I believe is unfair. But
she's then using the defence again of this act being originally created in 1992. We know that the act has had many moderations and additions and all this sort of stuff as recent as 2025, so shut up.
That's the law. Intent is irrelevant for this legislation, sadly, because it was implemented.
I'd love you to say that to a judge. Well, actually, this law's really outdated. They just laugh at you.
1982, when we didn't all have instant access to information. Because it makes sense in 1982, right? If someone had the images, they had to take it. It would have been something that they either physically went out and bought, or they had, you know, they purposely got it. You know, you can't accidentally have that in 1982. Whereas nowadays, you know, people are pinging stuff all around. I mean, leaving this.
And if you're unsure about this stuff to do with the law and you're rewatching this on YouTube, at the end of the video there'll be a box at the screen where you can watch the original deep dive where that's all broken down.
You know, even back when I was in secondary school, because I'm only 23, it wasn't that long ago, you know, people were sending stuff in all the time. People would always be taking pictures, sending them around. Like, that was just part of our growing up. That was part of our culture. So, you know, this legislation isn't really considering this.
What?
And then Alana Saw put on Reddit that Hugh Edwards had 41 real images with actual child victims. Disgusting. Including multiple category A. He clearly solicited at points, while also manipulated a young man with no direct consequences and got no jail time. And they're talking prison for a seemingly... Yeah, you're right. So hang on, this person is...
What?
Is actually a pedo, actually a child sex offender, and he didn't go to prison. Yeah.
It must give you some hope.
I have no interest in that. I was literally just...
You can almost see the cogs in the head going, wait a minute, some nonsense don't go to jail. Get in. That's literally what she's thinking. And literally what she's thinking.
Sent this, and I was actively reporting it. And I did. Yeah, that's stupid. Anyway. Yeah, it wouldn't add up as a custodial sentence unless there's much more to it. It seems odd. Who sent the images? How and why were they received? Why is an autistic wheelchair using young person cutting about a court in such a serious scenario with no support, with an often predatory media lying in wait? Yes, that's Kirsty. I'll tag her below. She's always...
Who the fuck is that? I need them. Who the hell is this? I need this account. I need this account. If this person is defending Amelia Collins, I need to know who it is. I need to know who it is.
There, giving me a photo shoot outside court. Anyway.
Who the hell is this?
There are so many failures of duty of care here for a disabled young person, whether they are an offender or not. The reported responses of the woman make it very obvious how at risk they could be. Where is their social support worker? The court and police have responsibilities that have clearly and sadly unsurprisingly been
Can I just point out that this absolute whopper here could have just made a fake account on TikTok and left this comment on her own video? Like, or it could be a complete non-supporter.
And yes, Alonso, I completely agree with you. And I do have social workers now. And I've also been given some brochures. I need to reach out to some people. There's some like support services I might look into that like advocacy that help with like neurodiversity, stuff like that. And getting that across. However, what was I gonna say? I've lost my train of thought. Oh yes, Police Scotland aren't revealing the data. So my sister's put in a DSAR, so data subject access request, Police Scotland saying, you know, give us all the stuff.
Right, so here we go, right? So she said that she's asked for a subject access request. So you guys know I've done this before, like when I got the body cam footage of the cop who turned up to my door. Well, I've just recently had all like interview audio and all sorts of shit like that. You can do that, but you're not allowed to. Well, you can be refused an access request if you're under investigation, because obviously the information is part of the investigation against you. So you're not allowed to. Like, I received the body cam footage because there was no active investigation. If I requested it after I went for that voluntary interview or something, I would have been denied because I was waiting the outcome of things. So they're not going to hand over the information to you. This is not unlawful. Once again, exactly, Emmy. Claiming she's got help now, but why was she involving herself in very vocal and public? Exactly that. But Emmy, this is what I was saying before. She'd be a solicitor's worst fucking nightmare, because you can guarantee she's emailing them constantly. She's doing all that. She's a client who isn't going to understand that you are just there to plead that day, or you are, and she's somebody who definitely would not listen to solicitor advice. You can just tell.
Prove it. Prove what I reported, you know, show that I was told, keep the evidence, you know.
The kind of one where you'd go, you sent what email to the police officer? You said what during an interview? You did what in a TikTok video? You uploaded a YouTube video? Like, it'd be like the most, you just wouldn't want to represent this fucker, because you'd be like, there's no way we're getting a good result here. Yeah, it gets people dropped. Yeah, 100%.
Because that will prove that I was just following their instructions. Police Scotland refused. They said they will not provide it because they
don't have to.
Pertains to an ongoing investigation.
Which it does. So how is this wrong? I just honestly, fuck me.
So I believe the sheriff has basically put in place some kind of demand that says, Police Scotland, you must provide this information. Or if you're not going to, you have to fight it in court as them being the defendant, because they're concealing information because they know it'll make them look stupid. Right?
No, what? No, that's not the way it works at all. Why can't you get information, a subject access request from the police while you're currently under investigation in Scotland? AI, do your thing. Do your thing. There we go. Christ, this is going to go a bit. This has been a long reaction, this, but, you know, got to be done.
When you are currently under active investigation by the police, whether by Police Scotland or any other UK force, obtaining your information via a Subject Access Request, SAR, is generally blocked or heavily restricted. While data protection laws, like the Data Protection Act 2018, give you the right to see what data organizations hold on you, they contain specific, strict exemptions when it comes to law enforcement. Here is exactly why a SAR will not get you information during an ongoing police investigation. 1. The prejudice to an investigation exemption. Under Part 3 of the Data Protection Act 2018, which governs law enforcement processing, The police have the legal right to restrict or entirely refuse a SAR if releasing the information would prejudice, harm, an ongoing matter.
And anybody can find this information out. It's so easy to do. And they either know it and they are manipulating the fact, or like I say, they just think they know better. They just think they know better.
Basically. That's what I believe. Anyway, I don't know if that's true, but that's my little conspiracy theory, because otherwise...
It is a conspiracy theory, that's correct.
Otherwise, why wouldn't they just give it up, right? I have every right to it. It's my data. Data Protection Act 2018, followed by the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation, gives me the right to that data. The only reason they would hide it is if they got something to hide, and I find that very suspicious. Anyway, I don't think such a distinction exists in law just now, that really should. The same thing happened with Hugh Edwards. He admitted the guilt for making indecent images, but the actual, still super serious and fuck the nonce bastard crime was receiving 41 images over WhatsApp. Right, yeah, that is grim. And obviously he seeked that out, and yeah, no, that's disgusting. Okay.
Why did you include that? That just made you look even worse.
And this guy didn't even go to jail, and I find that ridiculous. Anyway.
I think you're very happy that all these nonsense are not going to jail. Like I say, gives you hope.
So from my understanding, you didn't create the content, you were sent it on Telegram and it also saved your device, yep, and someone reported it to the police, perhaps the people who sent it, but it's strange. Yeah, so actually, by the way, to clarify, again, that was the automated system that did that, because the original court document said they received an automated report from TikTok, because it scans for that.
TikTok own CapCut, that's why I should keep saying this.
Strange, how would they know it's actually saving your device? Could it be someone you told, as you mentioned, you told your friends? It feels like a politics war. People who don't agree with your political views will twist stuff 100%. This has all been made political, and I don't know why.
It's a politics war. They're taking down Amelia Connolly, who hugely impacts Scottish politics. So they're going to have to set her up in this way. They're going to have to take her out the game. Jesus Christ. Fucking hell.
Well, I do know, because people are cunts, but, you know, it didn't need to be. Right, it was also suspicious of the comments saying the police didn't ask them any questions.
Well, this is what's happened, Debbie, right? To go over briefly, she's opened CapCut, which is an app for editing videos and images. She's then obviously allowed that app to have access to her storage. She's then got to have put that image, one of the indecent images or all of them, into the app for editing. CapCut has flagged it and sent an automatic report to the, child exploitation in that area, because that's what they're ordered to do under the Online Safety Act, which happens quite regularly. It's happened for years, to be fair, like with certain places, like if somebody on a device is trying to access CSAM material or something, like Google, for example, can make an anonymous report to your local force and stuff like that. So that's basically what's happened here. And then them trying to say that, that it just knew that they had that stuff on their device. No, it doesn't scan everything in your device automatically or something.
Or ridiculous. That just doesn't happen. Right, so in Scotland it can and does. There's no legal requirement to interview a suspect prior to charging in Scotland, 100% correct. And as I said, back with that email where I was meeting the officers in Falkirk from the Edinburgh team that had basically driven over, they just went through, arrested, charged. It was just a whip through. There was no interview. Anyway, I'm so sorry you're going through this. I genuinely believe that MI5 has set you up to smear the independence...
Shut the fuck up. MI5? MI5 are in it.
Movement. I hope you're doing well and protecting your peace.
There's no way she agrees with this.
And yeah, thank you so much. I'm a mess. I feel like I'm being gaslit into believing I'm a criminal when I haven't hurt anyone.
She wasn't like, no, that's ridiculous. She actually... And then notice the language here. I haven't hurt anyone. It's that thing again where she said, well, the AI images of children, there's no real victim. There was a real child's face put on sexualized images. There is a victim. And regardless, it's exploitation of children.
I don't know any broken in law. It reminds me of that, that Sex Offender Shuffle song where the guy's like, this is all to support, please help. And the guy's just holds a gun to him, shut the fuck up and just say you did it.
Okay, real quick, I'm not like these people, okay? This is an extortion plot by my ex-wife, who's the only witness, and she's trying to take away my kids. And I'm not here to pack my duffel. I'm just here to do the sex offender shuffle.
State of Florida has asked us to disclose our sexual crimes to you.
Why has she included this? Why has she included the sex offender shuffle? I can only imagine it's because it's a new ringtone. What the hell?
We were bad, but now we're good. We're moving into your neighborhood. We're obliged to admit.
Imagine her defense solicitor being like, she released a 45-minute nearly YouTube video talking in great detail about your defense strategy, yeah? And you included a clip from the sex offender shuffle. Yeah, yeah. Why the fuck? I can't. Okay, now she can do that dance all the way to the non-swing.
Crimes for which we were convicted. We're not here to start no trouble. We're legally required to do the sex offender shuffle.
No one cares about the truth. As soon as you've been, you know, put in the public
MI5 have made her do the sex offender shuffle.
eye as some kind of horrible person, no one listens to what actually happened. Anyway, Fishbrick says, hiya, if this is true, this is incredibly unfortunate and unfair. I thought the four images seemed weird. Exactly, right? I was saying this as well, is that when you see real, you know, crimes, if someone has a genuine sexual interest in children, they'd have, like, you know, thousands of images. They'd have, you know,
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
like servers full of it, you know, devices full of it. Like, it would be a lot, right? It wouldn't just be like
you could have got rid of devices. You could have had things that were on server. There's a lot of reasons.
You know, a few like weird AI stuff that people got sent as, like, you know, part of a harassment.
4 images, some categorized as category B.
Like, that's not how it works. That wouldn't be a sexual thing. Anyway, I'm sure the truth will come out.
This is the most telling part. And also, do you know what the judge is going to be looking for with this one? Remorse. They're showing no remorse. They are, you know, denying any sort of guilt, and they're making videos publicly all over the place showing no remorse too. That affects sentencing. That affects sentencing massively.
I hope you're doing okay, and please take care of yourself. Oh, I really hope so, and thank you, Fishbrick. Yeah, I'm being made to feel like a criminal. I don't understand why it's necessary. Exactly. M said, if that's the case, then why did you plead guilty and not take it to trial and argue this? You didn't have to plead guilty. You decided to plead guilty. Well,
they did. Yeah, you did. You could have said no.
Decided is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. I felt very much.
No, it isn't. In the news article that you even used in this video, they said that the court had taken a break because you didn't seem to understand. So once again, the defence is going to use that against you, you big old whopper, because it shows that they actually took you to side, made sure that you clearly understood what you were pleading guilty to, and then you came back and pleaded guilty. And you already said that you'd been promised that if you pled guilty, that there wasn't going to be any media looking at this and putting it out. So you're okay pleading guilty to being a nonce, thinking that people wouldn't find out. It's very telling, this video. It's very damning.
Pressured to plead guilty based on the legal aid advice, which, as you know, isn't always the best. I don't know. It's apparently not based on intent, but mere possessions. My sister said it's better for me to put guilty now, even though I don't believe myself.
Is everyone entitled to free criminal legal representation in Scotland? I'm watching somebody and they keep talking about the fact that they have free legal aid and it's terrible and it's not great as a way to dismiss their solicitor. Surely their rights are that everybody's entitled to free legal advice if it's a crime. I'm not sure if things are different. I don't know why they keep saying this. Police station stage is always free. Court stage is means tested. So if she has, well, if it's means tested, then she can. 1 second, I need this to understand this. The moment the police investigation turns into an actual criminal charge and goes to court, the automatically free part stops. To get standard criminal legal aid for a solicitor build a defence and represent them in court, an accused person must pass 2 distinct tests. Financial test, so looking closely at their disposable income, etc. The interest of justice. So basically, she said, I'm a broke ass, I can't pay for solicitors, so she has no other choice. But this doesn't necessarily mean that your legal representation is any less qualified to do the job, which is just ridiculous. And she's already used, like, the way it's done in America, which is known to be bad, which is not in America.
To be guilty, other than technically in the sense of them actually being there, i.e. actus reus, act itself, but not the mens rea, the guilty mind. That was my belief.
You keep saying that there's no actual victims, you're dismissive, you show no remorse, so I think you've undermined yourself there.
So they've done all this shit to you without an interview or support worker. At least it'll give you some grounds to appeal, since
you don't need a support. You don't get a support. Oh, fuck me. You don't get a support worker in a police interview where you have capacity. You can ask for a responsible adult and things like that. I'm talking UK. I assume it's the same Scotland. But even then, they can't answer questions for you in an interview, and they can't tell you how you should answer a question. They are only there to make sure that you understand the questions. So if they notice that you are struggling with capacity and understanding something, they are there to support through that. They can't really do anything. You've got to be really shown without capacity where you wouldn't be interviewed. And you've just put out this huge video talking about legal things and doing all this, which definitely shows that you have capacity.
It's also likely not in the public interest trials in circumstances. 100%. I don't understand why this is in the public interest when I've faced sexual assault myself. I know for a fact less than 1%.
But nobody knows that to be true, and you're a proved liar, and you've just pled guilty to a sexual offence against children.
Of sexual assault and rape ever leads to conviction.
And you're online. You have an online presence, even though it's a toxic one, and you run online groups with children in them. So yeah, it is in public interest.
And yet they have all this time to twat about with public money and resources on literal AI generated images attacking me.
This is going to do her massive issues in court. Literal, they're just AI image. It's CP, man. It's CSAM material, and you're sitting here being shouting about how they're just a non-event. They are not just a non-event.
For them being sent to me and not going after the people that were harassing me in the first place and sending them. I'm sorry, the logic is not logicking. Anyway, absolutely.
You're right.
And I don't get why I wasn't interviewed or given an appropriate adult, any of the things I thought they were meant to do. And everything says...
Because you were deemed not to need one. Simple. And also, you would have been asked. You would have been outrightly asked if you needed one.
It's all very strange and very worrying that people can be set up like this. The reporting on this is all very transphobic. I agree 100%.
It hasn't. Not over here, it hasn't.
I still don't understand why they need to mention what you were assigned at birth. Agree 100%. It's a culture war, isn't it? I don't agree with your views on every little thing, but I've always found you very interesting. Listen to, look after yourselves, lot to deal with. Thank you, Edinburgh Prank. And I love that comment as well. I don't agree with views. Because I'm actually like that with a lot of people, right? I don't agree with... there are some people in my family that I love so much, and I find them really fascinating, and I love meeting with and chatting to, and, we can be quite different politically, and we can often have political, debates, and I actually enjoy it. I like having a, a honest conversation. They're not bad people, they're decent people, but they might be, like, more capitalist, or they might be not agreeing with me on certain policies or something, and, they're nice people, but you can have debates with them, and that's what I like. I think
it's that whole meme, isn't it, where somebody records a video and goes, yeah, I'll post that, even though it's absolutely horrific.
That's what's nice about democracy, proper democracy, where you can have these honest discussions. So, thank you for taking time to read through my side of the story, and that already makes you better than the majority of people on the internet. I'd appreciate your support and sharing my message. If you have any information that you believe might be relevant for my case, do feel free to reach out to my team. They're available 24/7 on the phone number, and you can also email help@motley.com. Oh yeah, if you'd also like to join my Robots group, that would be great. You can click the link through my website. I actually can't get onto Discord now.
Why is she not allowed on Discord? So this is interesting. So this could definitely be a breach of bail. So you're asking people to come on to your Roblox game where there'll be like chat functions and stuff like that. I'd be interested to know if that's a breach in any way.
Because I can't get into my accounts because they took the devices. You need a device to verify, and I'm still trying to figure that out. It's a whole fucking mess. Anyway, hopefully I'll be in there. But either way, if I need something shared in my Discord, I'll just ask one of my employees to do it.
Employees that she doesn't pay and our children.
My team are amazing, by the way. I did say this. Like, I'm so lucky to have such wonderful people working for me that are supporting me, because actually it is just having people that back me is
the fuck was that?
Such a help. Like, for example, one of my employees said, "We will always back you. I'm so glad you're back now. Everything that's happened, everything you've been through and gone through is horrible. Take your time. I know things haven't been easy at all for you, but we've all got the ropes until you're ready. Fab and Yeston have done such a good job at running things while you've been away. We will get Modley back to where it should be with activity and fighting all this shit. Glad you're home where you belong." I love this. And that was Spencer. And then obviously Yeston also said, "No worries, take your time to rest. Me and Fab have got all of this for you. Don't worry about anything. We just need you for PBX. That's all, but chill out and relax."
It's concerning because I don't want to highlight it too much, but the profile pictures of these accounts look like children.
When you're feeling back to yourself, we're here for you.
And I don't know whether there'll be something in her requirements where she's not allowed access to children. Don't know.
I've got loads of amazing employees that are there for me, and that's really wonderful. And if you want to join my Roblox group, please do go via modley.com, and yeah, you can join, because we do need to try to get activity up. We do need to try to revive it a bit, because it is dying. And you know, these cancel groups, they're winning. They are, you know, trying to take away from my success. I've obviously got the purple Sparkle Time of O's award from Roblox, which I won for creating games with over 100,000 monthly active users. So
You're a nonce. Right, I'm done. I'm done reacting to this one. I'm done. It's been over 2 hours. Christ, chat. If you've been here from the start, say hey in the chat right now so I can give you some props. This has been insane. I don't see them not getting the book thrown at them by any sort of judge. Any sort of solicitor who's representing them is going to think they're an absolute fucking nightmare to represent. It's going to be insane. Look at you all. Thank you for stopping over. That's why I like it over on Kick. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you are following me on Kick. Search Fact Freak and you'll find me over there. It's just absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. But thank you for hanging with us anyway, guys. As I said before, those of you watching on YouTube, if you got there till the end, which is incredible, there should be a box up the top here. That is the deep dive that we did on this beast originally, and give you some clarity over the stuff at that time. Thank you for the support as always, chat. You guys are absolutely awesome, and I'll catch you later. Peace.